It is Friday. It is Stash Wars Live. What's up, fam? Mike the Sig Slayer here, chilling with my main honorable villain. What up, Mark? How you doing, dog?
What's up, man? I haven't been here in a while, man. What's
I
up, man?
know. It's
Excited
been
to
quite
talk,
some
man.
time. Well, hey, man, I'm glad to have you back, and it is definitely a momentous occasion. And you're the man for the job. We're gonna be talking about the Todd father all night. Just want to just get this out of the way. If you guys missed the epic signing that happened at P Dots in Pasadena, the Todd father took over LA, and this was in the middle of the World Series. So you had people taking their attention away from the Dodgers and went to Pasadena to see the Todd father, man. So you guys do not want to miss this episode. And as you guys trickle on in, smash that like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe to the Sig Slayer station, man. I cannot say how happy I am to talk about this. Now, last week I wanted to talk about this, but it was Halloween. And so I was like, I don't think I want to compete with Halloween, And then, having kids myself, trick-or-treaters, is no way I could have held my attention having to go and answer the door all the time. And
I wanted to come on last week, man. I had my Robin costume on. You saw it.
yeah.
Maybe we'll get a pic of that sometime.
Yes, yeah. I definitely wanted you on it, and I wanted to have P Dot on, the owner of P Dot's Comics and Collectibles, who is going to be a guest tonight later on. So shout out to P Dot. He will be here to give his take, hosting Todd McFarlane at his store, and I'm curious about how all that even came about. And and so last week I wanted to have this show, and I wasn't going to not have it, so I didn't care how long it took for us to talk about it. I was going to talk about it because just the sheer number of people. So we're just going to just dive in on this, and be sure to smash the like button. We're talking about Todd McFarlane all night, so we're gonna just dive in and just kind of show some of the first things that that happened here. And so we can rewind this all the way. And so, Mark, this line was freaking astronomical, man.
Yeah.
Tell me what this was like, man.
Man, I showed up around, I think, 6. I think it opened up. I think it was supposed to start at 8, so I was showing up about 2 hours early. There was already maybe 200 people in front of me, and they kept on rolling in, man. So by the time that 8 o'clock happened, I think it was already 1,000 people, maybe.
1,000 people by 8 o'clock?
Yeah. So have you ever seen a line so big? Have you ever seen any comic creator have a line so big?
I've never seen this. Jim Lee at Earth 2 comes to mind. Golden Apple. I think the way Golden Apple is laid out in Hollywood, the lines look longer than what they actually are because the store is small. I've never seen this. This is all in a freaking residential neighborhood, dude.
Yeah, this was a long street, man. This was like the street went down a ways, and I think it was close to the end of the street, so that gives you a little insight of how many people were there.
And so what time did you arrive again?
So I showed up about 6 in the morning, 6 a.m. About 2 hours earlier. I think I was tired the day before. I would have probably showed up earlier than that. The homie Stanley, who you're gonna see right now, right there, who waved, I think he was there since 4.
So okay, that's what I want to talk about first, because I was completely wrong about this. I had no clue that this Todd McFarlane signing was going to be this insane. So okay, so that's my first question. What was your expectations? You got there at 6. What did you think? What do you think you were going to accomplish at 6? What do you think? What kind of crowd do you think you were going to see?
Man, I thought there was going to be 5 people in front of me. turned out there was 200 people in front of me. You know, I went to the GameStop, the infamous GameStop signing. That I think that I even showed up earlier. I think I showed up at 4 a.m. for that, maybe.
You showed up at 4 a.m. for that?
I showed up early as hell for that, man.
Why? There was a lot of people at that signing too.
There wasn't a lot of people at that signing. I wanted to be first for sure,
Right.
and then that time I feel like I overshot it. I was like, oh, maybe I showed up too early. So that's why this time I was like, oh, um, let me show up 2 hours before, and hopefully it's not that crazy. And it was crazy, man.
This line, if you guys are watching this, the reason why I'm looping this, these are all people lined up to see Todd McFarlane at a signing. So I had to speed this video up, but this was a 2-minute clip, guys. So when Mark sent this to me, this was a 2+ minute clip of him just walking the line. And as you can see, that's the beginning. But look where it starts. I mean, look, it's foggy. It's freaking, people are out, camped out. And so this is crazy. And then so I just want to show people once again the enormity of this line. This line, I've never seen an in-store signing line this massive. Now, I've been to PDOTs a jillion times. I'm completely familiar with his store, and he's done a lot of things, a lot of public events and stuff. I have never seen this amount of people line up for any of his events. And then I also want to move on to this scene here, which is the next one.
Well, Mike, one more thing about the length of the line.
Okay.
Can I talk about maybe how long it took to get through the line?
Okay, yeah. So how long it took you to get through the line?
So I showed up around 6, and I think I got out at around 10:30. So 4 hours and a half. Our friend Stan, he said he showed up at 4:15 a.m. and he left at 9, so 4 hours and 40 minutes. And then some cats that showed up late, who showed up about 8 o'clock, I think they waited maybe 6 hours. I think they showed up at 8 o'clock and they were there all the way till the end. I believe it was, how am I doing my math right now? 8 o'clock.
And then they ended at 5 or something. They added an extra hour or something.
I forgot, but dude, I think they stayed more than 6 hours for that. I got to find the message, and I asked them what time did you show up, and how long did you stay? So I got to find that message and confirm that. But they stayed a while, yeah. So if you showed up later,
somebody that showed up at 8 o'clock, it took them almost a whole day to see Todd. Is what you're saying?
6 hours, like 6 hours
to see him, to get to the signing portion of the line.
Yeah, to get to the front.
Holy crap. That is crazy, dude. Yeah, like I think about this and I'm like, what would I, when would I have left?
What time would you have showed up for this?
Okay, great question, because I'll tell you this much. We were live the day before.
Yeah.
Okay. It was me, Southern Comic Geek, shout out to him, and Tony the Signature King, shout out to him. And I was saying, like, this is a sleeper signing.
Everyone and their mama came out, man. Everyone and their mama. There were chicks there, their girlfriends, their mamas, who didn't know anything. Quién es Todd McFarlane, man. And they were just in the line taking up space, getting extra comics signed, Hey, respect. That's how you do it,
So this really, blew my mind. The enormity of the line. Yes, we're talking about Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane invades Pasadena. And this was a couple weeks ago, but last week was Halloween, and I wanted, everybody to have their Halloween fun. But I was definitely going to come back and circle back on this because it just felt like, especially knowing the pulse of the collecting community in LA.
Yeah.
It felt like everybody was there, man.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't. I saw people in the footage that I knew. I saw a lot of people in various sections of that line. And they brought people. And then there were people that were casuals that got, shit that I wouldn't even want Todd to sign, but it was sentimental to them, like stuff like that. And so it brought a lot of casuals. You have any anecdotes about that?
Man, even if you thought comics were dead, man, you showed up to that thing, man.
Yeah, that is real, man. Even if you thought comics were dead, you showed up, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one, man. That is funny. Okay, so Mark, so this is the line.
Yeah.
But then we're still moving to this clip here. And this is Todd. What's going on here as you see.
Dude, so I was running to the car. I told this guy right here in the flannel, he was holding it down with me. Asked him, hey man, let me go to the car real quick. I gotta grab something for a friend. I had to give a friend something that I owed him for a while. And Todd's a man of the people, man. Todd popped out and he starts greeting the people, starts taking pictures. He's explaining the situation. He's like, we don't have time to take pictures, but if you want a picture, yell out Todd, and I'll lift my head up and you could snap a quick one. He's a man of the people. This whole signing was for charity to benefit the wildfires out in LA and everything. So Todd's a crazy personality. Todd's a great guy. We've talked to him before, and he's very personal, and he's going out talking to the people and everything, unlike any creator you've ever seen, man.
And do you feel when you're around Todd, is it genuine? Do you feel that he's genuinely like this, or he's just a super duper salesman?
No, dude, I think he's a really good guy. I think he's very nice. I think it's in his nature to be nice. That is part of why the reason, I'm pretty sure that's part of why the reason why people gravitate towards him. Because when you meet this man in person, man, you want to see him again. You want to go talk to him. You want to buy his books and everything. You want to support him and everything. So that's something to maybe other creators. Yeah, if you want a following, be nice, man. Talk to people. Talk to your fans. Be nice to them. Don't show them away.
Yeah, don't act entitled like we're supposed to do all of this stuff. Todd definitely doesn't walk around with entitlement. And I think the number one question people ask, and I think I got this question asked to me, I think even today, how much does Todd McFarlane charge per signature? And I say, most of the time he's free.
Yeah.
Most of the time he's free. And with this situation, because this was a charity event, Mark, what was the price on that?
$20, dude. $20 donation. What? That's for a legend like Todd McFarlane, where it's really hard to get his signature. $20. He wasn't price gouging. It wasn't $100. It wasn't some weird number like $87 or something,
or $69 like Jim Lee in New York.
Hey, that's a magic number. It should have been 6-7,
SCG, what up, man? I think SCG is in like Utah or some shit right now. SCG be all over the place, man. Shout out to the Southern Comic Geek. And he ran into David today.
Is that a con right now?
Yeah, like somewhere in Utah. Because I was talking to David, I think yesterday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's in like Utah or something. Look at those Spider-Mans hiding in the bush. And you beat me to the punch. Who was the rapscallion that left the freaking Spider-Man $2.99s in the just in the bushes like that?
Hey, Mr. Roughhouse, Hey,
Yes,
what
OG
you
Roughhouse.
what you doing out there, Jason? What con are you at?
Yeah, well, I forgot the name of the car. It's like Sasquatch Con or some shit like that. But it's so he's in Salt Lake. David's in Salt Lake, and he
Yeah.
actually shot a picture of David. And David's repping Sig Slayers right now. Shout out to David Barron, the left-handed assassin, the host of the process on here. So we are talking about Todd McFarlane, guys. Todd McFarlane invaded P. Dot's comics, and this was a historic moment. We have more footage to show, guys, but this line, I can't get over it because I never seen nothing like it. I never seen nothing like this line, guys.
What about
Look,
have you ever seen anything like this for a celebrity? Like
okay, yeah, there you go. So like we're talking about celebrities, yes, but for comics, no. I haven't.
like what celebrity though? Like who have you seen this long a line for?
Well, I don't really do celebrity things, but I'll tell you this: back in the day, back in the Tower Record days, where you had to like camp out for tickets for concerts, that's what this reminds me of. This reminds me of a camp out for like some tickets or something. And Todd is on that cusp of celebrity in comics. Now here we go. It says, see, Wasatch Comic Con. See, I said Sasquatch. I was close.
Wasatch Comic Con.
Wasatch, yeah. Hey, SCG, was this a free show? Was that a free show? So the line was long. Todd McFarlane came to the people, gave them the spiel because he's telling people here, right? You were saying, Mark, he was saying like, hey, I'm not taking any pictures. Catch me guerrilla style pretty much while I'm signing.
Yeah.
And so that's what he's saying right here. And he's demonstrating it. And shout out to P. Dot, the owner, who's going to be on the show in a little bit. He is right next to Todd right there. Up there in Pasadena. Shout out to P. Dot. But then we're getting some more up close Todd McFarlane shots here. So what's going on here, Mark?
So right here, this is when Todd popped out of the car and everything. They dropped him off, and they started greeting people right here. I was running to the car to get something, and then Todd just started shaking hands and starts taking pictures with people. I still didn't meet P. Dot. I didn't know how P. Dot looked. I wasn't sure who he was. There was a lot of workers there. And I did ask someone, I was like, hey, where's P. Dot at?
That's P. Dot right there, right next to him.
So I ended up talking to his brother. And then he said, and right when I was up front, he said that he ran out. Was Christian Endless Collection, was he at the signing?
No, he was not. What you saw, he saw his doppelganger?
Yeah, I think I saw a cat that looked like him.
Yeah, Todd, look at that. So he's taking selfies out here. So, okay, so when was this? So this is that's the other part. So what time of the day was this? What was all this going on? So if the signing started at 8, what time is this?
This was maybe an hour before.
So he was there at 7 something?
Yeah, he might have been there at 7. And then he goes maybe like 7:30, maybe 7:30. This is him coming out, greeting the crowd, and then I think he goes and I think he relaxes inside, gets himself ready and everything. And then the people start coming in.
So he's not even in the in the red on time right now. This is before the actual signing begins. And he's taking selfies with cats. And look, man, this is a total LA crowd. It's funny because, after going to New York Comic Con and then seeing like the people, just the different mixtures of people in New York. This is LA, man. If you blindfolded me and just showed me a gaggle of people, I'll say, hey, man, and took the Dodger hats off, I would still say, bet your bottom dollar these are cats from LA.
Look at New York had a Todd signing, right? And you had to be lucky to get into that. You had to have you had to get into the queue and get your ticket for that. Man, if you flew out to LA and you came for the signing, man, I think you had a better chance than New York. But if Todd was if that was your only goal,
But the thing is, the thing is about this signing, why it benefits cats from LA is like, dude, this was a grind, bro.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to spend hundreds of dollars on the flight to get in this line, bro. To get in this shit right here. This right here is brutal, dog.
Yeah.
This is dedication.
6
right
hours of your day. 6 hours of your day.
Yeah,
almost.
man. And I'm traveling, like if I'm SCG, right?
Yeah.
I think SCG lives in like Mississippi or something like that. If I'm him and I want to get a Todd, I would not suggest him do this crap right here, bro. Unless he just wants to like experience the survivor mode of signings, like it's almost like being on a deserted island. You know what I mean? Like, unless he wanted to know what it's really like to rough it and really be in the trenches, okay, sure. But
yeah,
if you're want to just fly and pop up in this shit right here, bro.
If you were down bad for a Todd, man, there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, man. And then this one here. So now we're inside.
Yeah.
Now we're inside. Okay. And so this is what 4 hours later. Now people, even that cop.
Oh,
that's my homie too.
Wait, what? Are you for real? I was talking to him.
Yes, and what's funny, because we're Facebook homies. That's like my homie, right?
Yeah.
Like family homie, right?
Yeah.
He saw me post this, and then he followed shameless plug here, Stats Wars Comics and Stats Wars Tonight. So if you're on IG, please follow Stats Wars Comics. So he followed Stats Wars Comics off the coverage that we had off of this. He didn't even know that I collected comics or anything like that. You see what I'm saying? And this dude was like, oh, man, want to make trades. And then I showed him all the stuff I had. He was like, oh, never mind. And so, yeah, even he was there, man. That's my boy, man, Hernan right there, man. I was like, whoa. I had to DM him and be like, hey, man, I think I see you in our footage, man. I think that's you. And sure enough, it was him. That's him right there. Yeah, that's my boy Hernan right there.
Yeah, I was talking to him, and I was like, did they send you out here for? did you get information on that? Because I was like, are you here for the signing, or did they sent you out here to come and protect Todd or something?
No, you know what? What's funny is that he was actually one of the first responders of the fires, and
he told me that.
Yeah, and so he got acknowledged by Todd, and I think Image Comics as well, and let's talk a little bit about that, the occasion of the event, but the occasion of the event, and then after that, I want to talk about your interaction with Todd. But let's talk about the occasions so the people that might not know what we're talking about when we say the fires in LA. This comic book shop is literally a couple miles, if not maybe if that, away from where the fires were. Okay, so this is Pasadena. The fires happened in Altadena. And there's two main comic book shops in Pasadena. There's P. Comics, and as you know, shout out to Ed at Collector's Paradise, right?
Yeah.
And so P. he's the man of that town. And I was so happy and proud that his shop was the one to step up and to raise money for all of these fires. And these fires are devastating, guys. They were so devastating. I just found out a couple of days ago, okay, that a high school friend of mine, a teammate of mine, his family lost everything in those fires. And I just found this out. I'm talking about, and he was a star basketball player, so all of his trophies and tape and all that stuff is gone. All their memories are gone. So like that, and I'm talking about this was that I found that out 2 weeks after this event right here. So knowing that Todd McFarlane was a part of the relief efforts, and I believe they raised like $17,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
And when P-Doc comes on here, I'm gonna get the kind of the official numbers from him because I'm pretty sure he knows. But I mean, good for Todd, man. And this is great because Todd lived in Arizona for a long time.
Yeah.
And so now that he's in LA, man, this dude is really representing. I mean, he was at a games. He was at a GameStop in what city was that again?
El Monte.
In El Monte, right?
Yeah.
In El Monte. No one goes to fucking El Monte, bro, for nothing.
I was surprised, man. I was surprised.
I heard of El Monte canned goods. You know, the El Monte brand. I could get some corn or some cream corn or something like that. But El Monte, California, for a freaking Todd McFarlane signing, that's almost unfair. It's almost unfair. And I just want people to know, Pasadena, for the people that are not from California, Pasadena is almost, it's not as, you know, random as El Monte, but it's almost there. It's, you know, Pasadena. Shout out to my Bruins. The UCLA Bruins are, you know, Rose Bowl is there. But who's going to Pasadena for anything, bro?
Yeah,
it's awkward.
You got the Rose Bowl. You got JPL's there. Caltech is there. Pasadena is a considerable city.
No, it's I mean, it's not like a tourist destination, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. You go for the Rose Bowl, and that's about it.
Yeah, 17,000 is impressive. And so guys, for this event, just so we could, you know, talk a little about SIG prices for a second. People ask me how much Todd cost. At this event, Todd was tier 2. Todd was tier 2 at this event. Now, the beauty about Todd, you can't put a price tag on his signature. You can't put a price tag on Todd's signature one bit, okay? And so he was tier 2 for that, and it was for charity. Now, at New York Comic Con, you could have bought some Todds through the same way you could have got Jim Lee, but it was like $100. So Todd McFarlane at New York Comic Con was tier 4. Yeah. So at one event, Todd is tier 2, and that's the event we're talking about now, right? For charity, or for the people that want their books encapsulated or signed a la carte at New York Comic Con, which was his most recent convention. He was $100+, guys. So what does that say about Todd? That to me, it says that Todd McFarlane knows his true value, and his true value shouldn't have a static price line. His true value should be where the people can get the most out of that encounter. So for all the people out there listening or watching, the price of Todd McFarlane, his signature, I'm going to say is tier 0. It's most of the time it's free, and you got to be lucky. Now, if you lucked up and you got that wristband or whatever at San Diego or New York, because pretty much, or MegaCon, he did the same thing. If you're lucky and you luck up and get a Todd McFarlane Sig for free, the community is happy for you. It's almost like somebody won a car shooting a half-court shot, right? Yeah. At the halftime of a Laker game, and somebody shoots for $10,000 and wins, the whole crowd erupts. No one's hating on somebody that wins a Todd McFarlane Sig randomly through the same portal that everybody else had to submit, right? So that's the beauty of Todd. He knows his value, and he said it. Shameless plug. Todd McFarlane, he's on our channel, and he talks about this, and he talks about not taking advantage of the fans and making sure that the interaction is clear, because there might be a time he might need to charge for something. Yeah. And he want people to be willing to do it. And so Todd McFarlane is really free, but for this event, Todd McFarlane was at the bottom of tier 2. So So he was cheaper than Delato and cheaper than Jeff Loeb, okay, at this event. And the other thing that he does that I think that's interesting, Mark, before we move on, is that he only signs one thing. So you have to really think about and negotiate and tell me in the chat, guys, if you had one thing that you could get signed by Todd McFarlane, what would you get signed? And it's something new, something that you haven't got signed. So don't tell us like what you got signed already. Tell us what you would get signed. So if you were going to see Todd in like a month, what's the candidate? And the thing is, it's such a hard choice to make. And you sit there and literally, I waited all the way up until the signing in MegaCon. I waited all the way up to the signing to decide which one, because I was only getting one, and people in line helped me decide too. So
Hey, Mike, where did you want to move on to? I did want to ask about Spawn 50, if you want to talk about that.
Yes. So we'll talk about Spawn 50 in one moment. I want to get to your interaction with Todd first. When you were in line, considering we've been kind of seeing them frequently throughout the year. What was that interaction like, seeing Todd?
Todd's always cool, man. So he recognizes me. I see Todd a lot. I ran into him twice at San Diego. Me and my girlfriend one time it was just me, and I was like, "Hey, Todd, what's up? Thank you for doing the interview and everything." And he's a nice guy. And then I ran into him with his wife and my girlfriend, and we're talking about where to eat at Comic-Con, like what's a good restaurant and everything. And then here he's like, it's Stash Wars again, man. It's the honorable villain. What's up? And he said, hey, troublemaker. And then I just talking to him and telling him our progress. We're getting bigger as a channel and everything. Let's have him back on the channel again. So hopefully we'll see another Todd McFarlane interview again on the channel.
Well, yes, we're definitely gonna get Todd back, and I want to talk about the McFarlane toys next. I got a whole studio full of them behind me, and so we're definitely gonna get more in depth on the McFarlane line, and then still talk more about comics, obviously. But you got to talk about some of that. Like, so many of our friends have at least one McFarlane toy, even if it's something that's sports related or OG Spawn series and stuff like that. So you mentioned Spawn, King Spawn 50, right?
Spawn 50. Yeah.
What you want to ask?
I wanted to ask about the 50. It's not the 50-50-50 program. The exclusive 1 out of 1,000 variant that came with an original sketch from McFarlane. What'd you think about that? People were I'm not sure if it had. I don't think Todd set the price on that. It was if you order 1,000 books and then you get that extra one with the sketch. I think most people priced it at like 1,250 or 1,500. That's how much you can get one. But I think he sold all 50 of those sketches. I think he ran out because one of our friends got one.
No, wait a minute. I thought those weren't ratio variants that like 1 out of 1,000 that retailers got if they ordered 1,000 of the 50. You talking about the skip cards that like Todd did and then Jason Sean Alexander did?
Yeah. One of our friends ordered one of those, and he didn't get it. He didn't get a Todd. He didn't get a Todd.
What artist did he get?
I think
Brett Booth did some too.
I think he got Segovia.
Okay, Steven Segovia, yeah. Like, I would have been happy with anyone. Obviously the Todd one. So you're saying there's people already flipping the Todd ones already?
I've seen them on eBay, man.
And what's they running?
I think I seen one run for 5,000.
There you go. Okay, I was about to say 1,000. That's
But you
I'm
had to
not.
gamble. You had to gamble that though. Yeah. So most people were selling that issue with that sketch for 1,500, and it's like, am I gonna get this? And then you do get it, and then do you think that was a good price point? 1,500.
So 1,500, and you get the comic, and you get a bunch of copies of the 52.
I think some people had it different. Collector's Paradise was selling it. You get cover A, cover B, cover C, all the way up until the 1 in 1,000. So you get 1 in 50, you get 1 in 100, 1 in 500, and then 1 in 1,000. You get all of those, and then you get the sketch too. So I think some people were doing it different. And it's like, oh, you only get the 1 in 1,000, and then I'm not even sure if you get the sketch. I think some people were having problems where they weren't getting the sketch, like buying the pre-orders off of eBay and stuff. So I want to know more about that. I want to know more about people that were having problems with that. Our friend got his sketch and
So I'm
everything.
so I didn't. So that's so most of the shops that actually qualified to get those sketches, they were selling that cover or that sketch card
Yeah.
as a package for $1,000, and you didn't know which one you were going to get. So you can get a Todd McFarlane for 1,000, is what you're saying,
And I was trying to
or
understand.
Steven Segovia or whatever for 1,000, but everybody's paying, which would be overpriced, right?
Yeah.
Um, but they're paying 1,000,
Yeah.
hoping that they'll get a Todd. It's almost like a blind bag.
And I was trying to understand that. I wasn't sure if it was the first 50 for sure get Todds, or if it was at random and it was, well, we have 100 orders, and so it's a 50-50 chance of you getting Todd, or you get Jason Shaw Alexander, Brett Booth, Steven Segovia. So if anyone knows the answers, if anyone's watching right now and has the answer to that, let us know. If anyone picked up that 1 in 1,000, we want to know your experience.
Yeah, and let us know if you were at this signing too. If there's anybody there, we're going to see P. Dot soon, the actual owner of this shop that you guys are seeing here, to get his take on this. I want to say historic event. One, it was for a worthy cause. Two, this was the first time Todd did a U.S. comic book signing in like decades, I heard.
Yeah.
And three, the amount of people that showed up to this thing, which to me still baffles me. Take a look at this line, guys. 4-hour wait, guys. Are you waiting for Todd for 4 hours? Look at this. And this is what, 7 something, Mark?
Yeah. Yeah, that was maybe like, yeah, close to 8 o'clock. That was probably a little before 8 o'clock. Mike, can you, I'm a bit younger, man. Can you explain? I want to go on a tangent and explain how the hell were you waiting at Capitol Records? What artists were you waiting at Capitol Records for tickets?
Kyle Records. Oh, I'm about to say not me. I'm saying that's that's things people would do. So like,
Oh
there's
yeah,
to be a Tower Records on Ventura Boulevard,
yeah,
and like I would be on the bus, and I would see like a big ass line wrapped around Ventura all the way down the alley, all the way almost down to Van Nuys Boulevard. And I don't know who they're waiting on. I don't know if it was Britney Spears or,
oh yeah,
or whatever during that time. But it was some rock star shit. And
yeah,
this
yeah,
is some rock star shit right here. And from your estimation, right?
yeah.
You've interacted with quite a few people in this line. What would you say their fandom was based on? Was it based on like they're into comics now, or they're getting their pastime favorite signed? What was this crowd like?
the They were hardcore Todd McFarlane fans, so for sure, all the heads that we know are hardcore comic fans, and they like everything from Marvel to DC to Image to Dark Horse. But I think most people were a lot of the people are older heads that grew up in the '90s, and and Todd was on Spider-Man, and then the whole Image thing happened, and then Spawn came out, and they were fans for life, and they couldn't forget Todd McFarlane, and they heard his name, and they came out, and they're like $20, you know?
And $20, like I said, for someone of his ilk, that's
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
That's cheap. And then if you're local, yeah, I'm bringing my wife, I'm bringing my kids, yeah, and I'm giving them a dub, and they're standing in line waiting for hours so I can get more than one sign. So I'm trying to crew up with someone that doesn't have a Todd investment. They might be invested in something else that you can kind of parlay that into getting extra help. So I would have definitely, and I had a homie that I think he got like 3 things signed at this, which brings me to the next portion.
What's up?
Okay. What did you get signed there? Let me. What did we get signed? What did you get signed?
I got mine.
The Todd McFarlane here. Let me blow you up.
I want to give you a quick update though, man. The top sketch or the most expensive sketch that sold on eBay was one of Todd's $7,600.
$7,000?
$7,000, man. So $1,000 looked pretty good now. So, you know.
Yeah, but it's like that's a super expensive blind bag right there, bro.
Yep.
Oh, that's crazy. Because like if you get like somebody that normally you can get that same sketch from for like $80, $100, $200, ooh, that would hurt. And you're not gonna be able to resell it for $1,000.
No, yeah. So blind bag, man. So whoever got lucky got lucky. So, all right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is the one I got signed. You know, I got 299 signed. Comic Tom was talking with Todd McFarlane, and they said that this is the true first appearance of Venom. I do love
For
this.
sure.
I do love this issue. And Venom shows up being a little roughhouse with this book. Venom shows up at the end like this. I love that panel. You know, that's the first time you see him.
How is that not a first appearance? That's a whole fucking splash page.
And then I think he has dialogue too. I think he says I'm home. You know? So that's a nice first appearance. And then I have the other one that people argue. Can I tell my story about this one?
So go ahead, man.
So this was the first Todd McFarlane book I got signed. I bought this on Amazon somehow. I was looking on Amazon for comics back in the day. And then I went to Comic-Con. First time I was working security. I went with a security company working, and I think it was a little after the pandemic when Comic-Con first came back. And I saw this guy, you know, looked like Todd McFarlane, and I was like, and I asked him, "Hey, you Todd McFarlane?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, I'm like, "I got my books on me, man. Can you sign a few?" And so this is what I got signed, man. So Todd's a very nice guy. Been seeing him for a few years, and then I have that trilogy. You know, I got 298 too. So
you got 300, and then you went 298, and then you just recently got 299.
Yep. So I finished that trilogy of Venom appearances. What you got, Mike?
Okay, so me, man, my main thing was I was obviously living vicariously through you, and I just assumed that because it was the week of King Spawn, and so that was it was a charity signing, but it was in the name of the King Spawn 50 release.
Yep.
So when Todd was on our show, he mentioned something about the 50-50-50 campaign, and that was King Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn, and what was the other one? Not Gunslinger Spawn.
And Scorched.
Scorch, yes. Have all reached or are going to reach 50 issues, and King Spawn was the first of the 3-2. And so he was talking about doing a campaign and stuff. So I kind of assumed that no one was probably going to use their one choice to get that book signed. Yeah. So it was a way to get an additional item without sacrificing the real item that you wanted signed. And so I was like, hey man, see if they have anything on this. And so as I'm going to blow this up real quick, I want you to tell them the story about how you got this.
Yeah, you can still hear me right now?
Yeah.
So P-Dots was kind enough to have a stack of these. I'm not sure how many they had. So by the time they got to me, about 200 guests later, they were down on their last two. Selling these for $25. Not bad. So you
So
got
pretty much the signature and the cost of the actual book, because this book is $5.
yeah, cover price, man. Cover price plus the signature. That's it.
So this was a way to get that extra item. So there we go again. It was still a $20 sig, but then you actually got the cover A of King Spawn 50, and this is a Todd McFarlane cover.
Yep.
So you couldn't beat this with a bat, because you got the creator of Spawn, image founder. I mean, so many whammies on this one, and he did the cover, and he wrote, it. So like this was, to me, it was a no brainer to get, and it was only $25. Now, if I was there with you, would this be what I got? No, but I still would have got this. So regardless, I would have got this.
So hypothetical, what would have been your one book that you have gotten signed?
Oh, Spawn 2. Right now I'm going in order, which brings me, which was the other crazy thing. We're talking about the Todd McFarlane signing. Just like maybe a week or so, some change before that, Todd McFarlane was in New York. And hold on, let me show that before I do this. Yeah, so Todd McFarlane was in New York, and I was able to catch him. You know, I was one of those lucky people to get a signature from him, and I did not waste it on no bullshit. I got the Malibu Sun 13, and look what he's doing to it. He's hooking up an unprecedented remark. This is unprecedented. I'm pretty sure there's going to be other ones to follow, but you're not going to see one of these Malibu Suns. I don't know. Did you see any Malibu Suns at this show? I mean, at the signing?
I saw a few, and I was wondering if they were gonna jockey your style and do the same thing.
Now let me see here. Where's it at? I'm going to go here. We're talking about Todd McFarlane, and we're just minutes away from the owner of P-Dots Comics and Collectibles joining us. But we're talking about Todd McFarlane. But I want to go back to this, because while you guys were prepping, I was actually promoting this shit too. So the night before, this is what I showed during Stash Wars. And you see what it says here. It says $20 autograph fee, one autograph per person, no sketches or remarks.
Yeah.
So best believe I'm going to ask P-Dot if he saw anybody get a sketch or remark.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're talking about this, and in my humble opinion, what's up?
Oh, keep your train of thought going. Go ahead. I'll talk after.
In my humble opinion, Todd McFarlane, to me, he is probably going to be a candidate for the Stash Awards.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you guys know that, because he's done a lot of cool things for us this year. And I just want to show you guys this. I got knocked off. Yeah, that always happens to me. At least once per show that happens. We're talking about the Todd McFarlane signing, and I just showed you guys the New York Comic Con right here. And so this was the last time I saw Todd, but this was like maybe a week and some change before the P Dot signing. And so I wanted to show you guys this Malibu Sun remark where he did the skull. And somebody was like, hey, is that the error? I'm like, I didn't even know that shit existed. Okay. I was happy to get my hands on this.
Yeah.
So this is an unprecedented remark by Todd McFarlane. Right there. His son, Todd McFarlane's signatures.
Yeah.
When this was posted on the gram, he said he's never seen this before. And this is a guy who pretty much makes a living selling Todd Sigs.
Yeah.
So let us know what you guys think about this right here. So this was the week before, and then the week of, boom, this is what I get. But hey, I feel good about this because this is King Spawn 50. This was the other reason, the main reason Todd wanted to be there and promote this book, to sell copies of this book. Now, P Dot, I saw on his IG the versions of this. And I think he was doing on his Whatnot sell the version covers of this right here. And so I just want to know what's the Sig check? How many Todd McFarlane signatures did you get this year? Because we saw him a lot. How many did you get?
Yeah, but look at, I didn't get them at MegaCon. I didn't even talk to Todd at MegaCon. Did you talk? You talked to Todd at MegaCon, and that's the weird thing. That's what I was going to bring up. We flip flop, and we never see him at the same time. You saw him at MegaCon. I didn't see him at MegaCon. I saw him at Comic-Con.
I didn't.
You didn't see him at Comic-Con. You saw him at New York. I didn't see him at New York. So I don't know what's up. So Todd thinks we're alter egos.
Right. You saw him at WonderCon. You saw him at freaking GameStop. So yeah. So how many Todds did you snap this year?
Oh, so did I get a signing with him? I did get a signing with him at WonderCon. So I got one at WonderCon. I got another at the GameStop. I think that might be 3 Todds.
So you got 3 Todds.
I think so. Yeah, I think that'd be 3 Todds.
So I'm going to show cats for the people that are coming in. Todd McFarlane was in Pasadena, California, man, and he was signing up a Storm. My man Mark, the Honorable Villain, he was on the scene, and it seemed like LA showed up, and this was in the thick of the World Series. Shout out to my Dodgers. This was the first live since we won the World Series, baby. Yes,
LA's
so
been
happy about that. And if you're a salty Blue Jays fan, don't holler at me because y'all team choked. Y'all had like at least 4 or 5 chances to win that game, dog. Don't even come on here talking about some Blue Jay jam, okay? I'll take your cheers and make jam out of it and put them on my biscuits, all right? So back to this. We're honoring Todd McFarlane. We're going to talk to the owner of P. Dot's Comics very soon. He's going to join us. But I would like to know in the chat, if you had one Todd McFarlane book to get signed and you were able to do something like this, what would you get signed? Okay. Now, Mark said you got 3, and I think you got 3 Todd signatures the hard way, which is being aware, being there on time, right? Yep. So because the GameStop one, a lot of cats slept on that.
Yeah.
This one, I think because of the GameStop one, a lot of people slept. I think they were not going to do the same mistake for this one. They were like, holy shit, this could have been my chance to get Todd McFarlane. And so for me, guys, my this is I I think 5 Todds this year. And I just wanted to show you guys. So it started, and I'm gonna do them in chronological order. And so that goes like that, maybe like that. There we go. All right. So at MegaCon, this was the tough one. This was the tough one to. I was like, do I finish off year 2, or do I get another 423 done? And which would be like number 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and the general consensus in line was like, hey, finish off year 2. So I got this at MegaCon. So this was really easy, because I actually won. But that line was bananas, by the way. MegaCon, that line was, even for the people that had the wristbands, to get your wristband, that was a long line. So it was a line for a line. And then this is the GameStop right here. And so shout out to Steve Olaf. And we got to get Steve back. I got a couple things I want to ask Steve Olaf. And this is Spawn 3. And I think you got your Spawn 2 signed, so we went with Spawn 3 on this one, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we did this one. And so if I was to see Todd next, it will be Spawn 2. Then I'll have Malibu Sun all the way to Spawn 3 signed consecutively. But this is Todd at GameStop earlier this year. This is Todd at New York. This is Todd at New York right here with the super sick Malibu Sun. Remark right there, the skull. I think that's dope. This was also New York. This was a ambush bug one right here. Got this one. So this is cool. So I got to get Steve on this one.
Why'd you choose number 8 for that one? That's what you had on you?
Because that's what I had on me. Okay. Hold on, we got P Dot right here. We got P Dot. So let me find and put the P Dot segment on, and then boom. Yo, what up?
Yo, what's going on, guys?
What's up, P Dot?
Chilling, man.
Mask is off.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm glad that you were able to pull up, man. I just gotta say, man, just real quick. When I found out that Todd was going to be at your shop, I don't know. I wasn't I know I wasn't as excited as you were because it was your shop and stuff. But I was really, really excited for you. And knowing, you got roots in that town and the nature of the event, I was like, yo, man, my man is doing his thing over there, and he got the Chief Rocka in the house. So the first thing I got to ask, man,
sure,
because for the people that are outside of California, they kind of lump LA. They just think LA is just everywhere. But right. Pasadena is Pasadena, folks. We don't really call Pasadena LA. We call Pasadena or Dina or whatever you want to call it. Now, I have to know, man, how the hell did you get Todd McFarlane at your shop, dude?
Well, a lot of people have been asking me that question, but Todd, he moved into the area, and he has kind of let that been known, so it was for a while was like a little secret, because you didn't know how he handles his own privacy, and so I had known for a while that he had moved into the area, but just kept it amongst myself and just a few other people that knew, because you respect privacy. But he's let it be known since, so he's moved into the area, and this was something that I had become. I had a good working relationship with a few people in his inner circle, just either by means of the shop or just by knowing each other for years. So kind of had a good working relationship with a few people in his inner circle. And I actually got to meet him directly at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah. Okay.
So there was, it was actually at the Short Boxed dinner. I was invited to the Short Box dinner along with a number of other people. And Todd was there. and I actually got to, talk to him for more than a few minutes at the short box dinner. And that was initially where I, kind of mentioned like, hey, we got to get you in the shop if you're, in the area, and kind of welcome you officially to, Pasadena and Altadena area. And, we had talked about the Eaton fire because we're locals to this area and how it impacted, us directly, him with his home and me with my shop. And so that was kind of the first, pitching, so to speak, was at San Diego Comic-Con at the short box dinner. But, we didn't go and talk much more about it right after. It was, timing. He has his own projects and his team that has stuff going on. And, for me, it's, I have other things going on with the shop, and, being impacted by the Eaton fire, it was a matter of picking a date that kind of worked for both of us. And when, a few months later, when I saw King Spawn 50 was coming out, and that Image Comics was making a big push to promote, King Spawn 50, and I saw it on the order form, then I was like, well, hey, let's kind of revisit this. Let's kind of, look at it in the sense of it's 9 months later after the Eaton fire. Me personally, I kind of have a grip on my store and business, now as far as what I can expect moving forward. You guys are making a big push for this book, and it would be a good idea to kind of, get the community together now about 9 or 10 months later after this Eden fire, and, kind of do something for the community. And so I brought it back to his team when I saw the King Spawn 50, and I said, hey, how about we kind of marry this idea of, a launch party and a store signing, and see if Todd would be open to it. To be honest, I was expecting a no. I wasn't expecting like, that it would be a yes, on the first ask. I thought that it would be, kind of something that would take a lot to get him to commit to. But honestly, just knowing, and meeting him and talking to him, and knowing that this was going to be something that we can get the community involved with, and that, this was something that we could raise money for charity doing, then it became just a big green light, not just for me, but for him and his team as well.
All right, I gotta ask another question about was that an echo? Anyway, I got a question about Todd McFarlane and his personality. We were talking earlier about like this dude is such a man of the people. You got a chance to chop it up with him. You said you mentioned you chopped it up with him at the short box dinner in San Diego. You got a chance to talk with him a little bit more. I'm pretty sure you talked with him a few times during that signing. Right. Do you feel that he's legitimately like a real people person, or is it like a salesman? Like, because I think that he's legit sincere. Do you get that vibe from him?
That's the vibe I get. Now mind you, I haven't known him for decades or years. Yeah. Like other people in the industry, but for me, meeting him the times that I did, I didn't pick up on anything insincere. He honestly cares about his people and his community and his fans. And, that was one thing that we talked about in private was integrity. And so he's a person of integrity. He likes to meet deadlines. He doesn't like to, fall back on his word. And so if he gives you a commitment, it's something that he's going to follow through with. I don't have anything that I can say against that. And so, he seems 100% legit, or he doesn't seem, he is.
He is, man, the Godfather. He's legit. All right, so I'm gonna switch scenes. I want to make sure everybody's in there real quick. Give me 1 second. And obviously we weren't. Yeah, so I figured, okay, so boom, I wanted to do this because I wanted to move it to this. And so I got to get your take right here, P-Dot. Here we go. Where's it at? There we go. This shit right here, P-Dot, was wild. I'd never seen people show up I had to time lapse this because this was like a 2-minute clip of your line. So when you see the enormity of this line, what comes to mind?
To be honest, I had to make sure there was extra toilet paper in the shop because I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have the bubble guts with this many people. I'm just hoping that no one is in the back of the line throwing a fit, because in today's day and age with social media, the narrative can change really quick. All it would take is, one person in the back of the line being mad or upset and starting a fight, and then the narrative becomes, fighting at McFarlane side. But honestly, everybody there was in good spirits. I think that's credit to not just how well we ran it, but Todd and his team, and the expectation that Todd was going to be there all day. So it wasn't a matter of if you got there at 8 or got there at 12. As long as you got there within a reasonable time frame, we tried to accommodate as many people as we could. I think we accommodated about 1,000 or more people throughout the day, and everyone was respectful to the neighborhood. We saw comments online about the bathroom, so we got a porta potty. We tried to address as many concerns as we could as far as the crowd safety and just the community respectfulness. And I mean, to be honest, the first person lined up 10:30 at night the night before.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So 10:30 the previous night?
10:30 the previous night. We were actually in the shop, prepping, decorating the store and putting up the banners and stuff. And we got a knock on the door at 10:30 at night. And guy, he was like, hey, this is the place for the McFarlane signing, right? And I was like, yeah, this is the store. He's like, would you mind if I waited? I was like, are you sure? He was like, yeah, I'm a big fan. So I was like, all right, if you want to wait, you can, He just came by himself. He didn't have a chair, didn't have nothing. So I gave him a seat to at least sit off overnight. But 10:30 at night, and then that's when the line started. And I think, 1 in the morning is actually when it started to really grow. 1 or 2 in the morning.
1 and 2 in the morning?
Yeah. Damn. I think at that point it was like 50 to 60 people. By 4 a.m. it was like 200, something like that. So yeah.
Wow. So our homie Stan, he was the cat that we know.
Yeah.
That got there the earliest from our circle.
Mm-hmm.
He got there at 4:30. He said, and Mark, you said it was like what, 200 people already in line.
I guess he's right about here by this lamppost right there.
Okay.
So I guess, is that about 200 people right there?
I'll say about 100 at that point.
About 100.
Yeah.
I was right here. I think by that point, I think maybe 200, 300 people.
Yeah, about 250 right there.
250.
And then it just grew exponentially throughout the day.
And so, P-Dot, what was the crowd like as far as like collecting crowd or just demographics on the collecting scene or fan scene? What was it? Was it mostly like hardcore comic fans or just hardcore Todd fans?
It was a good mix, to be honest. It was a good mix. It was, I would say, a good group of people who obviously are Todd McFarlane fans. But you had a number of people across the spectrum who collected hardcore versus people that looked at this as a good opportunity to actually meet him. As far as I knew, he was very accessible only if you went to Comic-Cons, New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, WonderCon. And if you had the opportunity to go to those, then obviously you could meet him and talk with him and get autographs. But outside of that, as far as like store signings, they only pop up very rarely.
This was like the first one. This was like the first one in decades or something like that, like an in-store signing in the U.S. or something like that.
Well, he had said 14 years.
14 years. There we go.
He had mentioned that there were other like meet and greets that had popped up over the years, but they were very brief in nature and just kind of random kind of meet and greets. you know, that were outside of Comic-Cons.
So Black Spiders here. Shout out to Black Spiders. Peter, this question's for you because you this was your shop. How much did Todd charge, and was CGC available?
There was no CGC witnessing available for this event. You know, that was one thing that I actually threw out there. And, you know, he has a private signing with CGC coming up. And so we figured, you know, if people want to take advantage of that, then let them do that. But because of time constraints, it was not something that I felt feasible would be possible that day. So there was no CGC witnessing as far as the signature series goes. What we were charging was just a $20 donation. And so the autograph fee was a $20 donation that went to the Pasadena Community Foundation. And because of everybody that turned out, we ended up raising $25,000 that was donated to the Pasadena Community Foundation.
Well, what was that final number again?
25,000.
25,000. And last I checked, it was 17. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So with the number of people that showed up, you know, each person paying the $20 donation, we sold some pre-signed copies of King Spawn 50. The sales of that, and then also Todd, I believe, had a small or contribution as well, and all of those combined was the 25,000.
All right, man, Peter. I gotta say, man, you've been you actually. What's funny about this? You've been kind of like my Todd consigliere for a long time. He was the one, Peter, and I actually did a show, like my first ever show on YouTube. I dedicated to you because I got a Todd Sig at like a Comic-Con years ago at the Image booth, and I ran to your booth, and I was like, dude, I got a Todd Sig. I need to get something, but I don't want something that everybody else got. Fuck Marvel, I'm a DC guy. And you were like, well, you know what? He did this. And it was this is the first appearance of the word metahuman, and you gave me the whole spiel, and I was like, bet. So I got that, and then I got a very crispy corner Spawn Batman from your booth the following year for Todd to sign. And since then, it's been signed by Todd, Frank, and Greg Capullo.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I remember those.
You remember those? Yeah, man. And so I have to ask this question. This is something that I wanted to ask when Mark and I were talking. And let me just actually go to this graphic real quick, because literally I was legit promoting your event because I wanted people to support the Eaton Fires. And just a little, I didn't, until a couple days ago, I didn't really know anybody directly in my circle that was impacted. And then I ran into my coach. I went to school in Burbank, high school in Burbank. So I ran into my coach, and he told me that a teammate of mine, who was like, you know, one of the best player on the team, and he's from Pasadena, and his house with all his trophies and all of his everything, all his videotape, you know, his parents' house got destroyed. And then that's when it just kind of reinvigorated the whole like sorrow, because I was really down. I was really down when that happened, just seeing, you know, my city, the whole LA burn. But then finding out that my homie's parents, who was like the parents that did all the videotapes, supported, you know, brought the Gatorades and all of that, for all those efforts to be burnt, I was like, I did not know that. And so I just found this out last week. And then so it really made me even more happy that that you were actually hosting this event. And so I wanted to show this real quick, because I took this and I was promoting this. This was the night before. So I had this graphic up the night before you guys, probably when that guy was camping out, we were going over this. Now here's where I led people astray like a mug, bro. I swear to you, the night before, P-Dot, I was telling cats, I was like, yo, this is gonna be a sleeper signing. You should go to this one, because like, yo, if you go to this one, you know, odds are you'll be able to get in and out, bang, bang, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking like, okay, it's Pasadena. I'm thinking like regular sensibilities. We just saw Todd at El Monte at a GameStop, and no one was there pretty much, right? Yeah. Earlier this year. So, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, yeah, all the cats that know what's up is going to be there, but this crowd here, guys, this crowd here is more than just the LA crowd, the comic scene. I know the LA comic scene. This is LA, dog.
Well, here, let me tell you this. There was a guy that flew in from Michigan just for this signing. So this was bigger than just the LA area. We had people, definitely a good number of people come in from out of state for this signing opportunity. So it did reach a lot of people. Credit goes to social media and, the posting that Todd and his team did over the course of, the week leading up to the event to really strum up a lot of, attention to it. And we had people from out of state, just saying, hey, I don't live in Pasadena, or LA, but is there any way that I can still contribute because this is for charity? So,
wow.
Yeah, we had a number of people reach out. Now, whether or not, that actually happened, I don't know, but we gave them, directions on how to donate directly to the, Pasadena Community Foundation. So hopefully they did. But, this definitely credit to social media and being able to reach, a large audience and, attract the attention that it did.
Peter.
Yeah. Yes.
I was talking to Mike and I was saying, man, if you don't live in New York or LA, this might be a good opportunity to finally meet Todd McFarlane. Did you expect that many people? How many people did you expect?
Initially when we first made the announcement, the initial signing time was noon to 4.
Yeah.
Because that coincided with the shop hours. Basically the store is open 12 to 5 on a weekend. And so, the initial announcement was that he was going to sign from noon to 4. So I anticipated, probably 500 or so people throughout the course of the day initially, and at any given time, maybe there would be 100 or so people in line. So we'd have to manage that. But then as we started looking at the analytics, behind the post, if you guys could look at the numbers as well for different platforms. But when we started looking at how fast the post was spreading and, how viral essentially that this event was going, we had a walkthrough with Todd about a few days before the event. And he actually threw out the idea of saying, well, this is going to attract a lot more people than we think. So here's a few options. And one of those options was extending the time frame in which he would sign. And, for me, I was happy. Like I said, when I first pitched the idea, I was thinking, well, if I can get him in here for 2 hours, that would be great. You don't typically get someone of his magnitude and weight in the industry for more than, a 3-hour block, So for him to initially say, hey, I'll sign basically while you're open the whole time, 12 to 4, I was ecstatic at that. But then
that shit's crazy.
Yeah, but then when he started looking at the numbers and we did the walkthrough, and he was like, "Well, here's a few options because we're going to have a big event and it's going to be a lot of people. I can do basically all day." He said, "I can do 8 to 4." But we knew that he had a hard stop time on Saturday because he had an event and commitment later in the evening. So we knew there was a hard stop time. But he said, we can't extend the event longer than a certain time period, which actually was like 4 o'clock, but we needed to get him out of there by 5, which was the hard stop. He has to go by 5 o'clock, basically. But he said, I can add hours on the front. And, if you can be here and your team can be here in the morning, then we can add the hours in the front and I'll just go all day, 8 to 4. And I was like, sure, we'll do it. You don't really say no. So you just find a way to make it work.
This dude put in a whole work day, dog. He put in a whole work day.
Full work day. Clocked in and clocked out. 8 to 5. Boom, boom. No lunch break. So call OSHA.
Yeah, I was about to tell you, man. Like, yeah, did he eat? How'd you guys take care of my man?
Well, he gets into the zone, and I kept asking his people, like, hey, what are things that he's going to need as far as like for energy throughout the day. And it was a short list of items. Honestly, it just some muscle milk, banana, and water, and some Slim Jims. So interesting diet, but that's what keeps them going. And
hey, man.
So we had those on hand, and like I said, he didn't take a lunch break. He didn't take any breaks. He just went 100% through 8 to 4, actually 8 to 5. We had to cut the line at 4 basically and tell people at that point, like, hey, if you're still in line, there's no guarantee, but by 5 o'clock we had to get him out the door.
Man, okay, so I'm showing this graphic right now, guys, because as P Dot was saying, if you look at the on the left side, the original time is X'd out, and then the new start time was 8 to 4. So we added on the top. But then I want to talk about this other side here, because me, I'm an old gunslinger when it comes to this shit. And I'm looking at all the rules, right? You pretty much was inside most of the time, right? Did you see anybody get hooked up with any remarks or anything like that? Or was it strict as hell that day?
Well, the rules are there for a reason. We don't put them there for nothing. They're there to kind of ensure that everything runs smoothly and people get their time, and then we can move on to the next person. And they're there for a reason. And like I said, it's to be as smooth as possible and efficient as possible to accommodate the crowd. I know a lot of people were beforehand asking for remarks or sketches, but that's not something Todd does, is what I understood. It's just his signature. He doesn't really do remarks or commissions or sketches per request. So his team and I were on the same page with that. It's just that's just not going to happen. And I did see a few people ask, and Todd was just like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. It's just going to be the signature. Now his signature varied in size depending on the item that you brought. I saw signatures that were very small, and some people brought like huge, big, like treasury size or museum size books, where it's like museum size art or like artist proof kind of stuff. Then he would be like, oh, I'm going to give you the big Todd, he'd give you the big Todd McFarlane on the whole page. So it was cool to see that, that you get the variance of size. But one rule I do want to say that was there, the photography rule. His team and I were on kind of the same page with that, because like I said, we wanted to keep everybody to about 30, 45 seconds, and then, kind of move on to the next person. And then that way we can get, 100 to 120 people an hour serviced, so to speak. But it depends on Todd. We put that rule there in advance just to kind of get people to expect that you're not going to have a whole ton of time. You can ask your one question, you can interact with him, but then you kind of have to go, because we got to keep it moving. And typically the photographs are what takes the longest and what stalls people. But when Todd arrived, he was like, I want to say hi to everybody first before I get settled in. And, he put it out there. He said, hey, you know what? You guys have been waiting in line. If you guys want an autograph, this is what you do. As I'm signing your book, you just say 3, 2, 1, and then look up, and he's ready for the selfie, and you get your selfie with Todd, and that's it. So most people, did it, and it fit within the window. So Todd has his ways of doing things, I guess through the sightings. Like, this was my first experience with him at a sighting, but he has sightings at Comic-Cons, pretty regularly.
Right.
And he has his way of doing things and crowd management and line management, and he knows what's worked. I'm not going to argue with him about what's going to work or not. He's, Todd. So if he says, hey, then let people do it, then you're going to let people do it.
Hey, Peter,
Yes.
What was the craziest thing that you saw that someone brought to get signed?
Craziest?
Yeah, what do you think was crazy?
I mean, I didn't see anything particularly crazy, you know.
Yeah.
What about cool? What about cool? Something that you were impressed? Because it's hard to impress you. I know that for sure.
You know, I saw there were a lot of different statues, you know, that were pretty cool. You know, one guy had like a big Venom bust that he literally carried for hours outside into the store. And it was huge. It was heavy, you know. It was a big Venom bust. It had to weigh 30 plus pounds easy, you know. But he got that signed. I saw a number of other like figures and statues. Some were custom that people had made on their own, and those were pretty cool. A couple people bought original art of their own, different art pieces that they either drew or was like professional original art that they brought in to, you know, of Spawn or other, you know, Todd McFarlane characters that they wanted signed. So it was cool. It was cool. A number of different books, T-shirts. It ran the gamut. You know, Funko Pops. You know, if it was somehow related to any of his characters or McFarlane product, you know, people brought it.
All right, so I got to ask a King Spawn 50 question because we were talking, you know this because you're a retailer. We were talking about those sketches, the 1 out of 1,000 or whatever. It was 1 out of 1. It was a ratio thing, right?
Yeah,
correct. Yeah, you ordered 1,000 copies, and when you ordered the 1,000 copies, there was a book, the pencil version of the 1 in 1,000 variant, and then also a sketch, a one of a kind sketch.
Okay, and so what Mark was explaining, and I don't know, did you order 1,000 to get the sketch?
Yes, I did.
And so, Mark, or do you want to ask the question about what the retailers were doing? Wasn't it what they were raffling? I mean, grab bagging them off?
I was wondering who set the price point for that book for the 1 in 1,000 variant coming with the sketch, and then also, what was the terms for the sketch? Was it the first 50 people for sure get the Todd McFarlane sketch, or was it random?
It was random. So it wasn't like first 50 get a Todd sketch or anything. It was actually random because we talked about it. So what they did was they put the sketch in a bag and board backwards, so you wouldn't be able to see what or who drew the sketch. And then I believe there were 119 or 120 total sketches. Todd drew 50 of them, and then the other 69 or 70 were divided up amongst the other 4 or 5 artists. You know, I don't know exactly how many each other artist drew, but there were 50 Todd sketches, and then the other 69, I assume, were divided equally amongst the other 4 or 5 artists. But it was random. It wasn't, you know, deliberate who got what. You know, you just basically put in your order with Lunar, which handles the image product, ordered 1,000, and then, you know, I guess someone at Lunar decided, well, not necessarily decided, but decided at random, you know, just picked one out, you know, with your order product, and that's what you got.
So what did you end up getting?
I got a Sean Jason Alexander.
Okay.
It's on my I don't have it here with me. It's in the shop actually, but it's on my Instagram. The picture of the reveal, the one I get. I mean, I had Todd at my store and I didn't get a Todd sketch, so you know, it was completely random. But I got Jason Sean Alexander, a pretty cool one of a kind piece. I'm not gonna save it, you know, so it is gonna go out for sale. I'll probably, you know, just put it on eBay, start the item at like $1, and then just wherever it goes is where it goes. Your second question though, the price point, who decided the price point? The aftermarket did, as far as for the sketches, you know. There's obviously a cost to acquire 1,000 copies. And so most retailers, knowing that, hey, to order 1,000 copies of this book is probably going to cost me somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000, up front to commit to. So I did see early price points at like $2,500 for the book and the sketch. But then, after about a few days to a week, the aftermarket takes over. I think those were like pre-sales were about $2,500.
Yeah.
But once art was revealed and in people's hands, then the aftermarket took over, and I saw, anywhere between like $5,000 and $7,000 for some of the sketches, which is actually pretty mind blowing. So
yeah.
Yes, and these are and what's the size of it? They're like the size of a backing board.
Slightly smaller. So not a full backing board, but they're slightly smaller. Give or take an inch or so on each edge or side.
And then wrapping things up here, I have a question.
Sure.
You were one of the first people going back all the way back to like the pandemic. You're one of the first people to do like the online claim sales and all of that stuff, when everybody was quarantined and so you were one of the first, I think it was like you and then like Elvines, like you two were like doing things like real, like hustling on that. And I want to know, and then things evolved, right? Like you were doing claim sales, and then now you got Whatnot, and then now eBay has eBay Live. I want to ask a question about the Whatnot, and then all of them. What sales? I mean, what platform do you determine to sell what? Do you have like, okay, I do this on Whatnot, I do this on eBay, I do this on IG?
Yeah.
How do you decide your sales strategy for each platform?
That's a good question. It's a learning curve, and the evolution of live streaming really is the future of all retail, to be honest. When you have large companies like Target and Walmart breaking into the space, then like that's the future. And when we started live streaming during the pandemic, it was out of almost necessity. We were closed. You couldn't reach a physical audience. You had to, go online. So it made these things that were generational advances typically happen overnight. And, luckily the technology was in place at the time for it to really take off. But the second part of your question, as far as like, how do you determine what to sell on what platform? It's a learning curve, and it's about how you build your brand. What do you want to be known for on that platform? As far as us with comic books, we still utilize multiple platforms. We use still Instagram, but now just kind of on a once per month basis to do a premiere type of show. That's where we put most of our high-end product on the claim sale that we do about once a month. And that way we can dictate the price point. Hey, we have a book that's $100, $200, $1,000. We want to be able to control the price point and the leverage as far as when that book sells for how much. Now, we use Whatnot more often. We use that platform 2 to 3 times a week, but that platform is more auction oriented. And so the product that we put there is more churn and burn. It's not churn. I call it churn and burn because it's just more like, hey, it's got to move. Stuff that we probably have more flexibility with price point on. We can put on Whatnot and just start the auction at a fixed point and say, hey, that's the minimum we're willing to take, and whatever it bids up to is what it bids up to. And, we have more flexibility in the product that we place on Whatnot. eBay is like last resort, or we want to reach the widest audience, So, hey, maybe we've had an item for who knows how long, and it's just got to go. So we can put it on eBay because it's going to have the widest audience and the most eyes probably on it. Or maybe it's a hot item that we really want, like these Spawn sketches. Hey, I've got 1,000 followers on Instagram. Only 1,000 people are going to see my post. But if I put it on eBay, there's 1 million people at any time on eBay, shopping for items. So that's going to have 1 million eyes. So it's a learning curve. And, you know, for us, that's kind of how we evolved with the time and how we've kind of navigated what goes on what platform.
I find it fascinating what you said. I really find that's really interesting and how you differentiated the three. I never really even thought about it that way, but that's why, you know, you're a seller and I'm not. But
well, this is my job.
Absolutely.
This is what I do all day, every day. You know,
and then but I'm curious about Whatnot, because Whatnot is the kind of the new breakout where it just took over. And shout out to Jack DeMayo. I remember when Jack, because I used to work with Jack on YouTube a lot, and I remember when he was kind of like the Paul Revere and Whatnot, and getting all these artists and publishers to be on it. Now it's like it's a whole thing within itself. But as someone that's selling, I hear a lot of I hear it's like it's either hot or cold. I know people that are like really successful at Whatnot, and then I know people that are like, dude, like I'm losing money on Whatnot. And then you said something. Well, that's kind of I'm paraphrasing here, but it's kind of embedded that you got to be okay with things being sold at a lower price point than you originally wanted it to. So Whatnot is, like you said, it's more like churn and burn, where you're cool with just letting it go at the minimum price. But if it goes up, great. But then I see cats, and I'm like, dude, it's almost like bungee jumping to me. And it's when these guys in they store and they're selling these key books, and they start with $1 or 99 cent minimum bid, and I'm like, how many people are in there? In their feet?
No. So there's mathematics behind it, right? And you got to do the math, not just on the Whatnot platform, but any platform, right? And so let's talk about Whatnot for a second. Mm-hmm. So if you start an item on Whatnot for $1, right, and it sells on Whatnot for $1, you know, Whatnot's going to take 8% of the commission, right? But there's other fees with that. It's not just the 8%. It's let's round it up, 3% for the credit card processing commission, and then 30 cents to process the transaction. So when you add all of that up, it's basically 38 to 40% that comes out of that first $1 in fees. So if you sell an item on Whatnot for $1, you actually get in your pocket 60 cents. Now, if you start the item at $2, it's still 8%, right? Out of $2, that's 16 cents. Mm-hmm. It's still basically round up to 3% for the credit card processing fee. So that's another 6 cents. So that's 22 cents. And then the 30 cents for the transactional processing. But that 30 cents is just 30 cents. It's not like exponentially more or doubled. It just stays at 30 cents. So add 30 cents to the 20, what was it? I said 22 cents. Mm-hmm. So they take out 52 cents if you start at $2, which means you will pocket, what is that, $1.48,
yeah.
Right? So start the item at $3, right? Take it, if it sells for $3, now what you're doing is you're leveraging that 30 cents lower and lower and lower. The percentages stay the same. The 8% and that 3% stay the same for every $1. It's basically, 8 and 12 cents for every $1. That you can't do anything about, but it's that 30 cents, that transactional processing fee, that makes a huge difference about your take home. So if we're smart about things, don't start it at $1, because you're just shooting yourself in the foot. In real dollars, that's like 40 cents out of every $1 you're giving up on each item. If you have 100 items on Whatnot that you sell in an auction and they all sell for $1, you're only going to take home $60. You gave away $40. You know what I mean? So the math there doesn't make sense. And likely, if someone on your platform, let's say Whatnot, really wanted the item, to them, what's the big difference between $1 and $2? If they really want it, they're going to pay $2, right? So start the item at $2. Don't start it at $1. Yeah, it looks good to say that I've got all these items starting at $1, but let's be real. The only people that say that are people that have 10,000 followers, right?
Right.
And they know if they start at $1, it's not going to sell at $1 because they got 100 people in their room. So it looks good to say, hey, all my items start at $1, but you know good and well none of it's going to sell for the $1 because you built up your audience. So, but if you're brand new, don't do that. That doesn't make any sense. You know, you don't have 10,000 followers yet. You know, start it at $2, start it at $3. If you're going to bring out big boys, well, don't start them at low prices that you're going to be upset with. Start it at the minimum you'd be willing to take. And if they don't sell, that's fine. You have them to live for another day. But you got to build your audience, but don't build it at the expense of going out of business.
Our business, what up, man? I gotta say what up to this guy because this dude has been commenting up a storm. Shout out to our business too. All right, I got one more whatnot question. Because what I do on whatnot, because I kind of do things kind of seasonally, like things I'm trying to get rid of or I'm gearing up for another show, stuff of that nature. I don't see how you guys do it. What I'm starting to do is, and I want to ask you, do you do this? Do you do like sometimes where you have a price up and then you say, "Hey man, give me a best offer"?
Yeah.
Sure. You do barter sometimes? Because like me, yeah. I haven't been successful with the auctions, so I'm like, look, dude, here's the price. You name your offer, either say kick rocks or yes. You know what I mean? And so I've gotten that strategy. It's worked out for me a little bit more because I've also did the auctions too, and I'm like, oh dang, I lost a little bit, but I had to put none out there that was too crazy. But I just wanted to kind of test things.
There's definitely strategies about selling on the Whatnot platform. A lot of them I've never gone to like a Whatnot sponsored workshop or anything like that. These are just strategies that I've kind of picked up on my own, either through thinking about the platform or selling on the platform now for 3 or so years, 4 years almost. So one, don't sell your best books first. That's one, because you have to understand, like, the Whatnot platform is built on impulsiveness. That's the whole swiping algorithms and the whole swiping stuff. It's impulsiveness in nature, and it's really feeding into people's, psyche about, the FOMO. Hey, this is your opportunity to buy it, and once this little timer goes red and it goes to 00, you've missed out. So don't miss out. Just swipe, keep swiping. And so it really builds into that impulsive nature. And the other thing that they do is that little, near the top there's that number that tells you how many people are in the room. That has nothing to do with how good your product actually is, But a lot of consumers, they see that number and they say, oh, there's only 2 people in this room. There must not be anything good here. And so they leave. And so that's why they invented that whole raid thing, was to try to get people to bounce to room and never get them to leave the platform or leave other people's, your group of friends' rooms. So that way, hey, these numbers are boosted. Look, there's 100 people in that room. They must be selling good stuff. So stay in the room, It feeds into that impulsive nature and that FOMO nature that people genuinely have because we're social creatures. But one thing I have learned is don't put your best books out first for sale. What you do is you put them behind the book you're selling. And so people constantly see it. So if you have, let's say, like a Spider-Man 300, right? And you want to sell that book on your Whatnot show, put it in the background behind the book you're selling. So people will always see it in the background. And eventually you'll get enough people asking you about it. Hey, that's Spider-Man 300. What are you doing with it? Are you selling it? And also on the platform, when they're in the main landing page of Whatnot, when you scroll across to see people's rooms, it gives you a preview, right, before you enter the room. If you scroll across it, it'll give you like a window shopping preview of what's going on in that room before you actually enter the room. What are they going to see? They're going to see you selling stuff, but what are they also going to see in the background while they preview? They're going to see your Spidey 300. So they're going to be more likely to enter that room to see what you're going to do with that Spider-Man 300. and don't run it at $3. Don't run it at $5. Just say, hey, I have it priced at $500, or shoot me an offer. And just say, hey, you can shoot me an offer. I have it priced for $500. Shoot me an offer, and someone eventually will offer you $420, $425, $430. Work out a negotiation, and then just start the auction at the negotiated price.
Man, P-Dot is in the motherfucking house, man. I love this. I got to get you out here on this. I got to get advice. I just got a bunch of whatnot advice, but bringing it back to the Todd signing, because I mean, you were doing God's work out there for the people of Pasadena and for Todd McFarlane fans around. I mean, people, you know, nationwide was flying in just to get that. Even that cop there, that's my homie R9 right there. The cop, the guy who was the first responder. I found out he collected comics because of you. I've been knowing this dude for years, and I never, but in different circles, and I didn't know. And he was like, so he followed our account because we covered the signing, and on Facebook, on my Facebook, he saw it, and he was like, and then he followed me on IG, and he was like, dude, you collect comics? I'm like, yeah, dude, of course. I know P-Dot. So it's crazy. You brought people together, and so I gotta ask this on the way out. And so put your collector cap on, and you or me, we're like diehard Batman fans. If you were one of these people in this long ass line right here, right? This long ass line, and you had one hot toddy to get signed, right? What are you getting signed?
You know, I was asked that question a lot, you know, and for me, I'm at the stage of collecting where I just want something that means something to me now. You know, I've bought and sold thousands of books, hundreds of thousands of books over the years. And so, you know, I take these opportunities now more personally. It's not just about, oh, I got to get this book signed to flip it. You know, that I save for San Diego or WonderCon or other opportunities. But if I was in line and I had this opportunity, you know, to donate to charity and then to actually meet Todd in a comic book store, I would want it to be something personal in nature, or something that I would probably keep and hold on to. So something sentimental is what I would have likely brought. You know, I actually have, I was so busy that day, I didn't even think about it, but I printed out, you know, the Instagram posts, that art. So I got those printed out on like 11 by 17 to make like posters. Yeah. And next time I see Todd, I'm going to have him sign one of those for me. And we'll put 25,000 raised for charity, and then I'm going to frame it and put it in the store.
That is hard, man. That's dope. That's dope. So I never would have expected that, and that's exactly what you described. Something that has some kind of sentimental value, and I really do feel that you made history, P, on this one, dude. And I want to thank you again. Before we send you off, is there anything that you want to promote? Any of your shows, sure, claim sales, and all that, so they know how to follow you and support your shop? Well,
first and foremost, thank you for having me on the channel. You guys are doing really good work here. Everybody should tune in to you guys. You should click the like, subscribe, recommend your friends to like and subscribe. These guys, they're awesome. They're great. I've been knowing them for years as well. So not just friends of mine, but collector homies. So thank you for having me. As far as where you can find me, you know, we're on Instagram and whatnot, P-Dots Comics. Give us a follow. If you like the McFarlane event, hopefully we can do more things like this in the future with other artists and other talent in the area. And we're, you know, comic book store that's been there for 12, 13 years now, still going strong. So if you are in the LA area, definitely come by, give us a visit. And hey, you don't buy nothing, we can chop it up. That's all.
Yeah, and that's facts, man. I don't know if you can see it. See that Batmobile? I got that from P-Dot Black Friday, baby.
Oh, I sold those way too cheap. I remember those.
Yeah,
you know, I was gonna keep one. I was gonna keep one because I was like, man, we got those I remember they were on like the Diamond Select Wholesale or something. They were having a big sale on Batman the Animated Series stuff. And I bought like 10 of the Batmobiles. I bought like 20 of every figure. And we were selling them. We even did the LA County Fair that year, I believe. And we were selling them at the fair. It was great. And then I was down to like my last 2 Batmobiles. And I was like, I kind of want to keep one. I want to keep one. And I don't even care if I don't open it. I want to keep one. And then who comes in the store? Or it was Comic-Con. And it's Mike. He was like, "Oh, you got the Batmobile?" I was like, "Oh,
yeah."
Hey.
I love it, man. Hey,
Yeah,
hey, P, man. Thank you so much, man. I will be in touch real soon. Thank you again, man.
No problem, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Peace out, man.
Man, that was fantastic. All right, what were your thoughts on that, man? Having P Dot on here, I think he's like a professor, a comic book professor, dude.
Dude, well, he gave you a whole lesson on whatnot for sure, man. But everything you wanted to know about the signing, told you all out on the table, man. And just reminiscing about that day, man. It was crazy experience.
Yep. Okay, so I forgot you. There we go. There we go. So, all right, so we're moving on to our Sig Slayer updates, guys, as we wrap things up. November is fire, guys. That's all I gotta say. So far, well, let's start with the end of the October. We had Jeff Loeb. So if you haven't seen this, you're sleeping. This is a great episode. Jeff Loeb is on the channel. Check this out. A very popular interview. And this is probably going to go down as interview of the year. Mike DiCarlo, the great Mike DiCarlo, and he's talking about the Death in the Family, Robin Lives special and how he, in fact, drew this image, not Jim Apparel. And there's some interesting tidbits about this. So check this out, as well as how does Mike feel about when he used to ink the late, great George Perez. So, like, this is fantastic. And since we're talking about Death in the Family, Robin Lives, we also had J.M. DeMatteis, the writer of that, as well as JLI, animation, all other kind of things. This is all available on the channel right now. Please subscribe. But then yesterday we dropped our third image founder of the year, the 6'7" post-up giant, Mark Silvestri. And he's talking about the return of his own The Darkness series that's dropping December 10th. And this is on the channel right now. And this dude goes in depth. I got to say, if you guys are Michael Turner fans, he shares a story about Michael Turner I never heard before. Have you heard that story about Michael Turner before, Mark?
No, it was funny though, man. It's a funny story. He said he is 6'7". I thought you're 6'7" and he's 6'9" or something like that. Yeah,
he's 6'7". Were you at the Deadly Duo signing at Ed Shop?
No, I wasn't. So
I was there, and we were shocked as hell that he was going to be there.
Yeah,
and so that's when I first met him, and then he came in, and I was like, "Whoa, this dude is like taller than me."
Yeah.
So yeah, Mark Silvestri, guys, it's on the channel right now. Please check that out. But then on Thursday, we have one of the founders of San Diego Comic-Con, Scott Shaw, legendary cartoonist. He did cartoons and he's a cartoonist in comics.
Yeah.
Scott Shaw.
First ever Sonic comics.
Say it again.
The first ever Sonic comics.
Oh, yeah, the first ever. Yeah, he's the granddaddy of Sonic the Hedgehog on comics. This is a can't miss show. If you guys want to know about the origin story of the most popular comic convention in the world, San Diego Comic-Con, this man was there for the beginning of it. He has a golden ticket to the event. He can show there in his drawers and get in, all right? This dude, Scott Shaw, is a legend, and I didn't realize how much he was a legend until this interview. So that's why he got the window treatment. And then
that's why he has the exclamation at the end of his at the end of his name on everything.
Right? He has you gotta respect the exclamation mark. And then, guys, there's a lot of things. Number one, subscribe to the channel. We're still probably next week. Definitely next week. I forgot about that. It's kind of almost like a Founders Week next week because we have a guy by the name of Adam Freeman on the new episode of The Process with David Barron, and that's going to drop on Wednesday. And there's going to be a new comic book magazine similar to Wizard, but more in depth, called Comics the Magazine, that's dropping in March. And it's going to be available at all the comic book shops in March. And one of the founders of that magazine we just interviewed, and he's going to talk all about Comics the Magazine. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be next year. Everybody's going to see him in their comic book shop, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, Mike was just talking about that. We unpack all of that, but not just that. On The Process, we actually talk about, for all the inspiring comic book creators, the self-published creators, you find out what it takes, what you would need to do to get your comic in the shops, direct market. So through Lunar or formerly Diamond, even though Diamond's, the defunct now, but I'm saying that process of you getting distribution across the board. And so Adam Freeman has worked with all the major publishers. He's been a numbers guy, he's a finance guy, a marketing guy, and he is starting a new magazine with a bunch of other people, and it's going to be dope. It's called Comics the Magazine. Comics the Magazine. You're going to find out about it, and that's Wednesday. Thursday, we have co-founder of San Diego Comic-Con, Scott Shaw, and that's going to be great. And then on Friday next week, we got Tony the Signature King joining us. And for all the people that have been DMing us and asking us to do a show with this theme, well, guess what? We're doing it next week. Next week, we're going to get the Royal Signature Commandments, okay? So these are the most important tips you need to know. You're going into a Comic-Con and getting your SIGs. What you need to be prepared for. What do you need to watch out for? So we're going to give you ultra pro tips on that, and that's the Sig Slayer and the Signature King. That's next week. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of our success stories. We're going to talk about some of our failures because they are hilarious, okay? And then last but not least, as you see at the bottom graphic, we're going to be doing a huge stash sale, and it's going to be amazing. I just want to show people this. Let me take this off real quick. I was talking to P-Dot about whatnot and all that. Because stay tuned. I'm going to be doing a stash sale where you want Jim Lee SIGs. Guess what? I'm going to be selling Jim Lee SIGs on multiple books. And these are all with COAs. If you're looking for cool Todd McFarlane newsstands, you see these? We're going to have a huge bat extravaganza. Okay? We're going to have a huge bat extravaganza. I don't know if it's going to be on Whatnot. I don't know if it's going to be on IG, but it's going to be in 2 weeks. So stay tuned next week because I'm going to give the date on this huge bat extravaganza. Now, if you want to buy this now, you can buy it now. Just hit us up on Sig Slayers on IG and say, hey, Mike, I want that 423. You want to sell it for this much? You can even make me an offer. But this is a newsstand. Okay? Batman 423, since we're talking about Todd. And then, guys, I'm just letting everybody know, start spreading the news. All right? I'm going to sell one of these. Oh, my. Oh, my.
Twins.
I have two. All right? Hold on. I need to blow myself up on this one. Since we're ending, I can be goofy for a minute.
I
haven't been goofy all day. I need to be goofy, damn it. Oh my god, I have two. But I want there to be one, guys. Like Highlander. Where's it at? There you go. This one. I'm keeping my signed one. And guess what, guys? this is actually in better shape than my signed one. This is actually a good one. You might even get a 9.6 on this, which is pretty hard to get on these because they treat them like trash. But this one actually came in a Gemini mailer this time. So I'm going to be probably not raffling off. What's the word? Auctioning off this. So if my sale does well, I got a bunch of the stuff, bunch of bat extravaganza. There's not many. There's a lot of better Batman collectors than me, but not a lot. And so we're going to be having a bat extravaganza. So this here, we're going to auction off. Okay. So, you know, Jewish Dragons. You was in the timeline too. It was quite the event. So Jewish Dragons, stay there. I hope you're here. Let's talk about that for a second. Jewish Dragons. Let me see. Were you in this mess right here? Were you in this?
Yeah,
you were in this, right?
What time did you show up?
Yeah, what time did you show up? And yeah, definitely catch us on Rewind because Jewish Dragons, we actually had P. Dot, the owner, on the show. And he dropped mad science, man. I love chilling with P. Dot, man. That dude's a freaking surgeon. But yeah, were you in this? Let me know, dude. And then what else did you get signed? And on that note, Mark, let's show them real quick. I'm gonna blow you up. What did you get signed at this event?
I had to get it. Comic Tom talked about it with Todd.
And that was what Comic Tom was there?
No.
Oh, okay.
Where does Comic Tom live? He lives up north.
I think he's in Oregon or something like that.
Yeah, but he had a video with Todd, and they said, "What's the first appearance of Venom?" And they said $299, and I already had 300 signed, and I already had 298 signed. So I had to get the last of the triplets, last of the three signed. So last of the trio signed.
So Jewish Dragons waited 5 hours. So your theory is correct.
Yeah, everyone
like
waited.
People on average
hours.
is like 4 hours and some change. So Jewish Dragons, what did you get signed, dog? Yeah, and then you hear some show Todd signing stuff. And then lucky me, I was able to get this, you know, the King Spawn 50, and P. Dot had a stack of them. And Mark, you said this was what, the last one?
Second to last one. The guy right behind me bought the very last one.
So Jewish Dragons, what did you get, dog? I'm curious, man, because you're in the art community, you're in the comic community. So what did you get the Todd Meister, the Todd father, to get?
Wait, so Mike, I asked P. Dot what was the craziest thing. I filmed the guy right next to me, the guy right behind me. I filmed that Pearl Jam poster that McFarlane. That was an official Pearl Jam poster that Todd did for a concert in like Sweden or something. So like that poster that I filmed, I thought that was the craziest thing because that was an official Todd. That's official Todd art that he did for Pearl Jam, right?
Of course.
Breathing.
Now, I heard of Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
If you told me what is a Pearl Jam song in the lineup, I'd be like, the Beatles.
but that was an official Pearl Jam poster. I was like, I don't think Todd does that a lot, I don't think he does official art for he did like the Patient Number 9 with Ozzy Osbourne, and then he did like the Korn Follow the Leader album. But you can get some official Todd collaborations. I think that's some good merch to get. Now,
here's Jewish Dragons. I'm not much of a single issue collector, so only McFarlane comic I had was my hardcover copy of Year 2. Really cool to me. Seemed really genuine. And guess what, Jewish Dragon? We talked about that aspect quite a bit tonight about he's so cool. Is it actually real? Is he that cool? He can't be that cool. Like every time I met him, is like I dig him even more. I think he's I think he is, other than the people that I know, and I do not claim to know Todd McFarlane. So scooch the people that I know aside because they're friends. He's my favorite person in all of comics. How can he not be?
But you've gotten it a lot, right? Where it's genuine. Hi, my name is. I like your rings, whatever. Like you get it a lot where it's ingenuine. It's like,
dude, Tom. He'll go up. Hi, my name is Tom. He don't even know like who he's talking to. It could be his mom right in front of him. He'll go, "Hi, my name is Tom." And you're like, "Oh, hi, mom." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen Tom so much. He'll be like signing something, and he'll go, "Hi, my name is Tom," and I'm like, "Bro, like I know your name, bro." But I have to admit that he is probably the coolest guy in comics that I don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's not. Because, I mean, yeah, the people that I know are my favorites. But of the people that I don't know, he's number one. And for him to be, and we've kind of talked about this on previous Stash Wars, which we all said that Todd McFarlane is the top dog, right? Especially since Stan Lee. He is the premier ambassador of all the comics.
Even Mark Silvestri gave him a nod. He said, well, he's like, Todd is the face of Image, he's like out of all of us, Todd's the guy,
Right. And thank you for that alley-oop. Watch the Mark Silvestri interview, guys, and smash the like button, comment, let us know what you think about all the awesome details that he gave us. This is probably one of the interviews of the year too. Check out it. And then I gotta say what's up to John Levisay, because John Levisay is a part of this darkness, and he's on IG and he's saying what up to us. And so I gotta say what up to John Levisay, because he's a part of the darkness, and I actually found that to be mystic, that we were interviewing Silvestri on the darkness, and then like the day later, I see John Levisay on IG actually inking a page from that issue. And so I just thought that was cool that that we got someone that's a part of it that we know, that's part of our circle. So I thought that was cool. But going back to this, guys, spread the word. Anybody that you guys know that wants one of these, they'll have their shot in a couple weeks. And like I said, it's going to be an auction, and I'll auction this bad boy off. Okay, so anybody that wants the infamous Burbank, I think it's pretty genuine on Todd's part. He really seems to love his fans, and he was quite dedicated to helping Altadena fire victims. I became a fan that day. Now, you may have missed this, Jewish Dragons, but we found out that Todd lives in Pasadena, apparently. So he was impacted, not directly, but if you lived in that area, you were scared shitless, period. Like, nothing was safe, okay? Matter of fact, anybody could have got it, If you lived on the west side, you could have got it. If you lived in Hollywood, you could have got it. So, like, that was the weirdest time I've ever seen where, as far as LA and natural disasters and stuff, because every year something's burning.
It wasn't natural, though.
Huh?
This is arson, no?
Right, but the wind also, the heat and the wind made shit way worse.
Yeah,
because people in the valley, their power was going out because of the wind, not even because of the fires. And eventually the fire started to mess with things and tax the infrastructure. The fire relief efforts tax the infrastructure eventually. But in the beginning, it was like crazy ass winds, dude.
No, yeah, so, I remember those winds, man. I was driving to work and I feel my car like moving, man. Like the wind was pushing my car.
So I gotta give Todd props on doing that signing and making it about the people at Altadena. I gotta give another shout out to my man P. Dot for hosting the event and having the wherewithal to, come up with the idea to use King Spawn 50 as the springing board for that event. I felt like it was the cherry on top. If you were a comic book fan and a Dodgers fan, you won. Like, you won because you saw Todd, and then a couple days later, we won the World Series, right? Yeah. And I think that night though, I think we lost. So it was kind of like it was kind of sucky because we lost that day, but we ended up winning the whole series. And so getting your World Series, Vic, and then getting a Todd a couple days before that, I think that's a good package deal. And then just like I said before, I got a bunch of signed comics with COAs. We're going to be dropping. It's going to be a huge bat extravaganza. I'm talking about we're going to have slab stuff, Silver Age, Bronze Age, you name it. It's going to be cool. So stay tuned next week on Stash Wars Live because we're going to be talking about the date and the platform and that. And I'm still trying to figure it out. I may do something on all of them, but I definitely want to have a stash sale. And then if you're on CAF, if you like comic art and stuff like that, I'm going to be dropping a art sale, another bat extravaganza, but original art. And that's going to be next weekend. So next weekend, I have a bunch of art up. I'm a DC guy, so if you like DC art, that'll be up for a lot of stuff up for sale next week because we're trying to do, do things seasonal, and I'm trying to get things ready for next year. So if you like our content and you want to find out ways to support us, please buy one of our pieces, buy one of our books next week because, next year we're going to actually be a part of the shows with tables and booths, and your favorite stars are going to be coming to our table and they're going to be interviewed. And we already did that this year a couple times, but I'm saying we're going to be going from state to state doing that. So we are your official comic book ambassadors. I like to say that because we don't really have no stake in the game. We're not making comics. We're not really trying to sell you a book per se. We want you to read books and buy what you love. And we're here for the people. We're here for actually the comic book collectors of all forms, whether you're a Sig guy, a regular guy that just reads the books, or you're even a dreaded CGC guy, right? We're all for that here. And so next year, you're going to see a lot of us in person, in public space, probably in your neck of the woods, interviewing some of your favorite comic book talent. So if you enjoy the content that we have here on the Sig Slayer station, please subscribe if you haven't already. But when we start selling stuff like this here, we're going to be dropping this off. Boom, 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 right? If you like that, check us out. If you like, where's it at? Oh, boom, boom, boom. Newsstand. Okay, Mark is going to the block party, right? Are you going to block party?
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about that since we're in the Sig Slayer update. And thank you for that segue, Jewish Dragons. So let's talk about the block party. And I forgot to have that graphic up, but just shoot from the hip.
Oh, me? So this is happening tomorrow. It's going to be in 4 different blocks. I don't know who's who on which block. I think all I know is the last one is going to have Nathan Fillion and Mike Allred. I think those are 2 big fish that are going to be there. But everyone from Rick Lopez, I believe Tim Sheridan's going to be there. I'm not sure if Jeremy Adams was on the list. Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, Jeremy Adams going to be there.
Timmy Hague. Is Scott Koblish going to be there?
Yep.
Scott Koblish is going to be there.
Rodney Barnes.
Rodney's going to be there. Really?
Rodney Barnes. Brian Michael Bendis.
Bendis is going to be there. So a whole plethora of people. You can see that on the Revenge of Instagram. You can see everyone that's going to be there. Have your books ready. It's in a few hours, I think it starts at 10 or 8 o'clock, and then it's going to run until 6. So it's full.
And it's free. The signatures are free. So we're talking about a tier 0 event. Okay. There's going to be panels. I think you mentioned Patton Oswalt already, Nathan Fillion. Yeah. So you get to meet actual actors that are part of it. Bendis is in Block B. And it seems like he's got Bendis zeroed in right there. He's locked in on Bendis. I have to say, this is going to be a lot of people there. So definitely, if you're looking for people, certain people, get there early to secure your spot. 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's an all-day event, man.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great. Lots of writers, I noticed, right? But David Mack's going to be there.
Yeah.
What's another artist? I forgot. I did a lot of artists that I'm not really familiar with.
A lot of LA cats. A lot of LA cats are going to be there. So
plus Bendis, who's I think a Portland guy or something like that from Oregon.
Yeah, and I think Mike Allred too lives up there.
And Mike Allred's going to be there. So lots of former guests of the Sig Slayer station. And so stay tuned for some coverage. We're going to have some coverage on that. Mark the Honor Villain, our main streets correspondent, will be on the scene, crispy and clean, ready to attack the Revenge of Block Party. Jewish Dragons, man, thank you for that wonderful segue. Hit
me up, Jewish Dragons. Hit me up at the event. And
man. If you guys see any of us in public, I don't care, because there was somebody. I'm bringing my campus tour this year.
Yeah.
My boy Tino, he said he saw me in New York, and he was like, "Yo, I didn't want to stop you, man. You look like you was determined, bro." And I just want people to know that's my default face, okay? If I look like Samuel L. Jackson on Snakes on a Plane, it's because I'm just determined. You know what I mean? But I will light up if someone stopped me and said, "Hey, man, what's up, Mike?" I would be like, "Yo, what up, dog?" So give me that opportunity to say what up to you guys if you see us in public at these shows, because, like I said, we're going to be all over, and we want to say what's up to people, especially the people that frequent our live stream. We want to know what's up, guys. But tomorrow, 11 to 6 p.m., free event. Tons of people. Did we say Bendis? Bendis is there. Yeah. Bendis is here. Bendis is here. Bendis is there.
Yeah.
Bendis is there. He will be there. Okay. So check him out. If you see Mark tomorrow at the Revenge of Block Party, holler at him. We're gonna have a good time. And before we wrap up out of here, I just want to show you guys one last time that we were with the Todd father a couple weeks ago at P. Dot Shop, who was a guest here tonight. And this is Mark getting his footage inside P. Dot Shop. Todd McFarlane. Shout out to Jewish Dragons, because I was hoping if someone in the chat was going to say they were there. And so I'm glad that Jewish Dragons got a chance to say that, because I wanted to know what's up. And he got Batman Year 2 and just Batman Year 2. And just to show Mr. Jewish Dragons, because we were also showing, I actually showed earlier, I got 5 Todd Sigs this year, which is a record.
Yeah.
But to show Jewish Dragons that we're kindred spirits, this is I have all the Batman Year 2s signed. And this was the last one. So I actually got this signed by Todd McFarlane back, what was that, February MegaCon?
Yeah, February. Yeah.
So February MegaCon. This is where we got this done. And so we're kindred spirits. And I actually need to get that hardcover. Do I have that? I don't think I have that hardcover. I got to get that hardcover, because I got all the single issue signed now. And so, yes. So wrapping up, guys, check out Scott Shaw next week. Check out me and the Sidra King next week on Stash Wars Live, giving the royal commandments, the royal signature commandments. And we're going to be giving our top 10 tips on getting your book signed. And the cool thing about it is Tony is also a slab guy. So he's going to have some tips in there on that. I'm just going to give you old cowboy tips, things that will work in any environment. Okay. But we're going to talk about that. And hey, join the discussion. Let us know. Call in. I think I'm going to give a giveaway next week. Because we crossed 13,000 subscribers. So, hey, thank you guys. Dude, I meant like I was at I had a pop-up last week, and I got like 80-something subs just, last week at a Japanese festival. So I want to shout out to all the people that has been rocking with us the whole time. But yes, this most recent 1,000 people, I'm trying to like, where are you guys at, man? Like, how are you on these damn subs? But not all the views. But hey, I'll take everything. I'll take it all. Okay. But we just crossed 13K subs, and I want to thank you all. And so we will be giving a giveaway next week with Tony the Signature King. And thank you so much, Jewish Dragons.
Thank you.
Because we work hard, man, and that's why, guys. If you want to support us, we're going to be giving out sketch cards soon, and that's what I'm going to unveil next week, because we got sketch cards by some of the best in the game that we're going to be giving away, and that will be our main giveaway items. Are these awesome 6x4 or something like that sketch cards?
Yeah,
and we'll be giving those off to our members. So consider being a member after next week, because I don't have nothing for the members yet, but I'll have all that stuff loaded up next week. And because when we do the unveiling, but also for our staff sales, and our calf sale next week, our Comic Arts Live sale next week. If you guys want to support us, please buy something so that we can continue this mission of spreading the goodwill that is comic books. Well, guys, that is all for Stash Wars Live. Mark, is there any last words you want to give, cats?
I'll see you tomorrow if you're at the show, and hopefully we see Todd again.
Yes, and stay tuned. And guys, keep watching the channel, man, because we got some. November is crazy. We already got Mark Silvestri.
Yep.
We had Jeff Loeb. This one here is a sleeper. If you haven't saw the Mark DiCarlo one, it's fantastic. And then the JMJ Mateus I thought was equally as great. But yesterday was Mark Silvestri. So this year alone, we have 3 image founders. So let me know what YouTube channel has interviewed 3 image founders this year. Name me another YouTube channel that interviews every week for 52 weeks new comic book talent. Okay, every week. So we have interviews for the entire year of 2025, because we drop new interviews every single Thursday. And so that is all for our live tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for all the people that have entered the chat, and smash that like button. If you came in late, check out the rewind, because P-Dot, he dropped a lot of science, not just on the Todd McFarlane signing, but if you're interested in Whatnot and selling and stuff like that, he gave some fantastic tips on Whatnot. So check that out as well. This was a great live. We are out of here, guys. I want to let you guys know once again that we'll be here same time next week, but featuring Tony, the Signature King. We are out.